let's talk about American Psycho, a film from the year 2000 which sees Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman, one of his most iconic characters, a narcissistic perfectionist for aesthetic values, a banging taste in music, and a lust for bloodshed. Stu, how are you doing this week?
Let's see what Paul Allen thinks.
One of the few roles that Jared Leto's actually good in.
Fantastic. What a film. I love this film. I absolutely love it.
Christian Bale, what a worldie in this film. Patrick Bateman is just such a fucking good character.
Is he a bad guy?
But that's the question. Yeah, we don't really know. It leaves it quite open-ended at the end of the open-ended ending.
Nice.
Whether he is actually doing what he's doing or if it's just like a fantasy that he wants to live out. What do you think?
Snap. What do you reckon?
It's one of them where like I don't really care either way.
Wow.
I'm happy if he is genuinely killing people, and if it is just a fantasy, then I'm happy about that too.
You're happy for him.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. I'm just happy this film exists because it's a good one. We spend a lot of time in kind of the Wall Street world, which is where Patrick Bateman wants to kind of make a name for himself, even though he decides to make a name for himself by becoming a completely different person and stealing their name.
Yeah, I mean, not the best way to go about it. I think he's great. The way it's done basically portrays all the ridiculousness of corporate culture and how it's all just some fake bullshit, and everyone puts on this like facade, and at the end like no one even knows who the fuck he is, even though he's meant to be this big I am. Like everyone keeps confusing him from someone else, and one guy's even like, Patrick Bateman, he's a fucking loser, and he's talking to Patrick Bateman. I think like the thing that I love about the film is just how it taps into that just over the top fake bullshit, even from the get-go when he's like talking you through his skincare regime, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. Or the iconic business card scene.
Yes.
Just absolute bullshit.
It pushes really heavily the importance of tiny little aesthetic details in this world. So if you want to be like higher up on the food chain, you need to look good, you need to dress more smartly, you need to eat at all the best restaurants, your business card needs to be the best quality, down to the paper choice and to the printing and the font and the ink and everything like that.
But they all look exactly the same, don't they?
Yeah, it's pointless. It's just bravado, and it's all this just idea that Wall Street world has sort of pushed into its own narrative that those things have importance, whereas it kind of ends up driving Patrick fucking mental that his card's not the best type of card, and you know he isn't able to get booked into the best restaurants. He's kind of got to use other people's names to get booked there in the first place. It's like this whole kind of striving to be the best.
Yeah, even like him and his partner just like hate each other, don't they? They're like in a car and she's talking to him and he's just got his headphones on, not even listening, and it's just so spot on with just how bullshit the corporate world is and how everyone has to appear such a certain way. You're almost like seeing him descend into insanity, aren't you? Like even from the get-go, you see him ordering a drink in the bar, don't you? And he's like mouthing off that he's going to kill the waitress.
Oh, it's so good.
Immediately you're like, oh wow, this guy's fucking mental. I think then by the end of the film you're like, I'm not sure that really happened. I think that's just what he wanted to say in that situation.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that happens with Patrick's sort of crazy experiences is just that. It's so crazy that it almost becomes unbelievable. So the main example of this, which I think is the most ridiculous thing that happens in the whole film, is the chainsaw down the stairwell kill.
What a fantastic kill, though.
It's fantastic, but I can't help but not find it hilarious.
I think it's brilliant the way he like tracks her with the chainsaw and just perfectly times it.
It's ridiculous though, like, come on.
Yeah, I just think it's brilliant. Like, I think most of the kills in this are actually like fantastically well done. I mean, like the first one where he kills Paul Allen or whatever and he's talking to him about the music. It's so brilliantly well done. Hip to be square on.
Yeah. Gets the raincoat on and stuff. Oh, it's brilliant. I love the fact that he can just chat to people in depth about the tiniest detail of like certain albums and certain songs while he's just telling people to fucking rim each other. Like,
the narration throughout, he almost like perceives himself as this like empty, emotionless vessel who literally just feels disgust and hatred for things. But then on the flip side of that, when he like hires in the prostitutes, he's like incredibly chauvinistic. He's like flexing for himself, isn't he? And like admiring himself having sex. Again, you get this like view into his psyche, which is just this egotistical maniac. It's really interesting, especially seeing as I've always worked in American corporations. You do see people that obviously not like murderers, but you see people that are like that batshit crazy with insignificant things. It's like constant one-upmanship. Sometimes are like no bounds to how pathetic it becomes.
It's like woven so like deeply into the tapestry of that world. Even if you are someone who wants to change those kind of ways that things are seen, you're gonna have no chance because it's just that deeply ingrained. You have to be a selfish, egotistical prick in order to succeed. Otherwise, you're just gonna get eaten up by the wolves higher up on the tier.
It's like perfectly done because it does capture that like insanity of corporate America and presents it in like an insane way. Just the narration like paints it beautifully. There's like a moment where he enters Paul Allen's apartment and he says, "There was a moment of panic as I entered. I realised this is more expensive than my apartment." It's just like, it's not like the panic of, shit, I've killed this guy and I've got to cover it up. It's just, oh fucking hell, he's better than I am still.
The way American Psycho goes is, it is based on a novel, and I've been told by a few people that the novel is far superior to the film in terms of tapping into his like character, but it's still presented really well in the film that this is like the worst case scenario of what the Wall Street mentality can lead you into. You can become psychopathic. They just present Patrick in some ways as being quite likable because he is like, he's a great character and you do follow him throughout and you kind of almost root for him.
Yeah, even though he's very odd and he's obviously insane, yeah, he is genuinely likable.
And I think that's a testament to how fucking good Christian Bale is. People still are like breaking down and studying Patrick Bateman as a character to this day. Like there's so much depth to him and to the world that they've created here.
Hey Connor, a question for you.
Yes.
Do you like Huey Lewis and the News?
Hell fucking yes, I like Huey Lewis and the News. Hip the bees square.
Fucking brilliant. Perfectly picked song. Brilliantly put together. It just works so well.
Hey Paul!
Yeah, and it's like the dance back through the room. I think for me, the reason I like this film so much is I like films that cause debate about the meaning behind it. It does cause that level of debate where you could read into it in different ways, or you could think he's insane, or you could think this is stuff that's actually happening. There's so many bits of this film that are littered with moments that probably aren't taking place, like the ATM when it tells him to feed it a kitten and then he shoots a police car and it just blows up with a couple of shots from a pistol. It creates this debate or creates this doubt. Almost every viewer could interpret it slightly differently and come to different conclusions, and I think for me that's why this film's wonderful, because it leaves you with this question that creates different versions of the films for different people.
I totally agree. It's just a film that I've appreciated more on subsequent watches. If you want to make your film rewatchable, this is a damn good way of doing it.
Yeah.
Just creating a character that is so multi-layered and making a film where you don't know what's truth and what's a lie. It's just a bloody good film with a lot of memorable scenes and a cracking central performance to stitch it all together. Tell us what you think of American Psycho, please. It'll be good. Really good. Really, really good to hear what you think about this.
It was going so well and then all kinds of weird shit happened.
Much like this podcast.
Did it happen or not? Who knows?